Hello, welcome to Math Today. We are moving on to something a little bit different, which I'm relieved about. Hopefully you are as well. We are still talking about collecting data. So I'm going to circle this word up here. And friends at home, you should already be here, but you should be on page 328 in your instruction book. All right, so when we collect data, we know data is just information. And when you collect it, you just put it into a table or a chart or something. Why do we need to look at data? What do you think? Cadence?
So you can make a graph or something?
Yeah, it's kind of good to look at data so you can see maybe a trend that something has, what people like the most. So we are going to take a look at this problem and think about how we could draw a graph to show the data. So I need someone to read about Mrs. Collins. Noah, nice and loud.
Mrs. Collins observes the types of shoes worn by students in her class. One day she counts 9 students wearing sneakers, 5 students wearing dress shoes, and 7 students wearing sandals. How can you use a bar graph to see what the most popular type of shoe is?
Okay, we'll make a bar graph. Bar graphs are fun to make, okay? So first of all, question A is saying, how many different types of shoes are worn by students in the class? Name each type. All right, so go through your problem. Any different type of shoe, underline it. I'll do the same. Okay. So I found that there are 3 types of shoes, right? So on our line, how many different types? We can say 3. I'm going to put a colon. So we've got sneakers. We've got dress shoes. And we've got sandals. Give you a minute to write that down. All right, now we need to make a bar graph. Can anyone describe to me what a bar graph looks like? We looked at a couple yesterday. Cadence? Are you thinking about a line plot with our x's?
Yeah.
Okay, so a line plot, we draw the line and make the x's into a tower. How is a bar graph different? Hayden?
A bar graph has bars instead of x's.
Okay, we make bars. It's almost like a tower. Josiah?
And you still do put a line down.
You do. Okay, so Cadence isn't wrong. So let's do this together. But this time, instead of just a line at the bottom, it's kind of like an L. So start a line down the top, and then stop and make a line across the bottom. You need to make sure you've got space for labels and numbers at the top and the bottom. So that is step 1 to a bar graph. All right, now we have 3 different types of shoes. So we need to make 3 different areas at the bottom where we're going to graph those types. So we'll start with our sneakers, and we'll just put our sneakers here first. And I'm going to put in parentheses underneath how many, so I don't have to go back up into this. We have 9 students wearing sneakers. And now we check out our dress shoes. Give yourself a little space. And I have 5 students wearing dress shoes. And finally, we've got our sandals. Which we have 7 students wearing sandals. Now, if I had to put a label on the bottom, which we should, what are all these labels describing? Zoe?
Shoes.
Yeah, types of shoes. So I don't really have space. I'm going to have to shoot a little arrow in there. So at the bottom, our label, it's types of shoes. All right, everyone with me so far? Make sure you're keeping up as we go. Come around and do a book check here. Okay. Now, we need to label up the side, okay? Now, we have to show that the students wore, 9 students wore sneakers, 5 students wore dress shoes, 7 students wore sandals. So what type of numbers do I need to put along my side? Any ideas? What numbers go over here? Quentin, what are you thinking?
I think the 9, 5, and the 7 should also go in the
So they have to be included, right? Because that's what we have to show. So what number should I start at and what number should I stop at that includes 5, 7, and 9? Noah?
We go from 1 or 0 to 10.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to go from 1 or 0 up to 10. So this bottom point in the very corner, if I don't have anything that goes up, this would be 0. So you need to make 10 lines, try to space them evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we can write our labels. Each one is 1 pair of shoes. Actually, I guess more accurately, for a label on that side, it should be number of students who wore those shoes, right? So we can just say number of students. And I'll let you use the number sign.
Hashtag.
Yep. Yeah, I guess you guys know it as a hashtag. When I grew up, it was the pound sign. So hashtag is a shortcut to write the word number. Number of students. So we've got labels on the bottom. We know these are our types of shoes. And we know the numbers on the side show the number of students. So when I graph my sneaker column to make a bar graph, how far up do I go for my sneakers? You should all be able to know this. It's written on your paper. It's written on the board. Abby?
9.
I need to go up 9 spaces. So here's how I do this. I find my 9 and kind of draw a line, and then I connect it all the way down to my sneakers. The most important part is that it looks like it's at the 9. You can shade them in, you don't have to. I'm going to shade mine in a little so it looks bolder. All right, now what about my dress shoes? How far up am I going to take my column for my dress shoes? Quentin, what are you thinking? How many kids are wearing dress shoes?
There are 5 kids wearing dress shoes, so you'll split the bar up to 5.
Up to the 5. So I'm going to draw my 5 across. And you know, if you ever have a lot of trouble with this, you could grab a piece of paper or a ruler or something. I could line it up if I wanted to be very precise. So I was a little off. I need to go up a bit. But for what we're doing today, an estimate is fine. All right, so there's my dress shoes. Okay, now what about sandals? How many of the students in her class are wearing sandals? Hayden?
7.
7. So follow your 7 across. Okay, before we even go on, how is looking at this graph of our numbers different from reading it in the problem? We get the exact same information. How does the graph make it easier to visually see quickly what's going on with the shoes? Josiah?
Because the tallest one is the biggest one, and that's easier than just to,
Yeah. So when you become an adult and you have a job, a lot of you might be in different types of business where you have to show your ideas. Do you think whoever you present ideas to would like to read it in a paragraph like that or see a quick representation of a graph? Hayden?
Yeah, and I think I know the next question.
All right, well, hold on. Cadence?
Do you have to do that in designing?
You have to make graphs in all sorts of different jobs. So the older you get, you'll learn how to make these graphs all in Excel, the computer programs. You type your numbers in, it makes all the graphs for you. It's really fun. So graphs are really helpful. It just shows you information in an easy way to view. Okay, I've got to scroll mine down to look at letter C. Can someone read letter C for me? Let's see, Abby.
Explain how to use this bar graph to determine the most popular popular type of shoes worn by students in the class.
Okay, so someone that hasn't answered a question yet, think about that. How can we use this bar graph to decide the number of students or the most popular shoe worn by students in the class? I'm going to call a victim. Oh, good. Angie.
If you just look at the graph, the 9 is the largest number besides 5 and 7.
Good. Okay, 9 is the largest number, so that is the most popular shoe. I don't have space to write it down here. I'm going to put it right here. So for letter C, we can see that 9 is the largest value. So, sneakers are the most popular shoe. Yes.
I think that's true in our class.
Yeah, in my experience, most kids wear some form of sneakers. Right now, the trend is Vans, which you guys, pretty funny. When I was your age, it was also the trend. So it comes and goes. Also, those Adidas shoes, we were all wearing those too.
Why is it Vans? Is it shoe or
Trends
shoe
and
or-
fads just come and go. That's just how it goes. They were around when I was a kid too. Yes.
People like Vans because you could skateboard. They're made for skateboarding.
Yeah.
That's what my
And they're
dad
just
said.
comfy. They're easy to slip on. Okay. Any questions on how we made our chart here? All right. I'm going to pause you at home real quick to get to our new screen. Okay. We are back. We are now on page 329. So I'm going to read this top part, and we're just going to talk about different types of survey questions she could have asked instead of what type of shoes are you wearing. So Mrs. Collins conducted an observation to answer the question. Why do you think it was an observation instead of a survey? Josiah?
Because she was looking at them all and not coming up to them and asking them, like, what's your favorite kind of shoe? What's your favorite kind of shoe?
Right. She didn't ask about your favorite. She just looked to see what are you actually wearing. So she was making an observation. She collected data by observing the shoes her students wore to school on a given day. The results of her observation are shown in this frequency table. So, sneakers, we have 9 students wearing, dress shoes 5, sandals 7, just like on the other page. But the data could be used to answer many different questions. So she could say, how many students wear sneakers to school? She could think, what is the least popular type of shoe worn by students? How many more students wear sneakers than sandals? So an observation is one way to collect data. Other ways to collect data include conducting a survey or completing an experiment. We are going to focus on surveys, okay? We have done experiments in science and we get data from that, but a survey is different, and I think they're very fun, okay? So you're going to get to come up with your own questions soon, so listen as we talk about how you do it. A survey gathers information by asking people questions. For example, you could survey your classmates by asking them about their favorite fruit. So I could give a little survey card to all of you that had 5 fruits listed, and I could pass it out, and everyone could pick one. And then could I make a table like this about which fruits you all like and make a graph?
Yes.
Yeah. An experiment is a procedure that can be repeated. So that's a little different. We're not going to worry about doing experiments. So how are observations, surveys, and experiments the same, and how are they different? After this question, we're going to move on to talking about how you write a survey question. So think. I need your brains on. Brains on? All right. Let's start with an observation and a survey. How are those different? How are they different? One person knows. 3 people know. Zoe, what do you think?
Wait, what was that?
How is an observation different from a survey?
You ask the people with the survey, and
Uh-huh.
but you just put
Observation?
you just look.
Yeah, so I could look right now and say the colors of shirts my kids are wearing in class. But if I wanted to know your favorite color of shirt, can I know that just by looking? Or would I have to ask a question?
Ask a question.
I'd have to ask a question, which is a survey. Noah?
If you would do our favorite type of shoe, we would all probably pick socks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I know you guys don't like wearing shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, voice is off. Now finally, an experiment is different from the other two because in an experiment you keep repeating to see if you get similar results. So we're not going to focus on experiments. We are going to focus on surveys. So please turn to page 330. All right, this is going to set us up for your next math task. Okay, I need someone to read this box up in the yellow. I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice. Cadence, nice and loud.
Suppose you want to learn more about your classmates. One way to learn more about a group of people is to ask questions. That can be answered by collecting data from the group. What questions could you ask your classmates that could be used to collect data?
All right, so before we go on, does anyone think they might have a question you could survey your classmates about? Before we even go over kind of the rules of how to come up with a good question. Josiah, what do you think?
What's your favorite video game?
Okay, video game. Now, if we're going to have to make a chart about it, what if everyone gives you a different answer? Could you provide a list of out of these games, which is your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be great. Hayden?
What's your least favorite food?
Least favorite food? Are you going to give some options for them to pick from?
Yes.
Because if you don't, are you guys understanding? If I just said, what's your least favorite food? I think most of us might have a different answer, right? I'm going to say cheese, which probably no one else will say. So if everyone had a different answer, your graph would look funny because you'd only have one number for every answer. So start thinking about how you can ask questions that have maybe some answer options. Cadence?
You can make a graph and then you see it and then you ask the other people.
Okay. So you're going to make a graph and ask them a question about the graph?
Yeah.
Okay. That could work. Clinton?
I understand if you're going to say cheese, because I'm not the only one that doesn't like cheese.
Oh, you also don't like it a lot? All right. Well, then maybe that could be an option on your survey. Josiah?
And you can also ask, like, what is your favorite animal on this list?
Right. Okay, so that's a good point. If you say an open question like, what's your favorite animal? What's your favorite color? You're going to get too many answers. But you could say, out of these options, which is your favorite? Or which is your least favorite? Noah?
You could go, like, out of these options, your favorite hot Cheetos, hot fries, Takis, Doritos.
Yep. What's your favorite chip out of the ones I've listed? Good. Angie?
I don't know what to write.
Oh, we're learning it today.
Like, how many, like, if I were to say, what's your favorite animal, and I just wrote down random animals, I wouldn't know what animals other people like. So I have to know what to write.
Right. So that's what we're learning today. We have just barely started learning. So we'll get to all that. Zoe?
Are we learning it today?
We'll see. Maybe at the end of our day. Okay, so here's a list of questions. Let's go through them and think about them and think if they'd be a good survey question or not. So people that haven't participated yet, I'd like everyone to at least answer one question. So first of all, what is your favorite school subject? So you're going to think about, would that be a good or bad question? Are there way too many options of answers, or would that be a good question? Zoe? Thumbs up if you agree with Zoe. I agree with Zoe. Okay, there's only so many subjects at school. So more than likely, all your classmates would pick from the 5 or 6 subjects we have every day, right? All right. What about this one? What time does school begin? Raise your hand and tell me if that's a good survey question. Quentin?
No, it's not, because it's all going to be the same.
It'll all be the same answer. So you're not really getting any new data, right? So that's a bad question. Oh, I'm forgetting to cross them out. Let's cross them as we go. So that first one, good. I'm going to put a star. Second one, not a good survey question. The answers are all the same. All right, what about the next one? When is the next school field trip? Is that a good survey question?
No.
I'm about to call some victims. Chloe, what do you think? No, it's not, right? Because the answer's probably going to be the same.
Okay.
Get rid of it. How many pets do you have? Think about it. Would that be a good survey question? Zoe? Shh, I should only hear Zoe. Yes, I agree. Okay, I know some people in here have a lot of pets, but most people don't have more than like 10, right? I would say 10 would be a really high number of pets. Some people might have 0, but you could go 0 to 10, right? That's not unreasonable. So I would say, yes, that's a good question to ask. Then you would say 0, right? I'm sure there's more than one student that have 0 pets. Last one. What time do you go to bed?
I don't know.
I'm asking if that's a good survey question or not. If you were going to ask your classmates, do you think that would give you good data? Angie?
No.
Yeah, because you could get way too many times. But what if you did this? What if you said, check the time that's most close to when you go to bed. And you said 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, and then they could check one. Would that work? That would work, okay? So this, let's just put some question marks because we could make a version of that work, but this question's a little too general.
I just crossed it out.
Okay, yeah. Scroll down a little bit to the analyze it. Would someone like to read that for me? Quentin.
You can think of a topic that you want to learn more about, then write a question on the topic and listen to the possible data that could be collected.
All right. So, here's a topic. Think of a topic. Last week's field trip. These lucky people before COVID that still got field trips. Write a question. All right, now you guys tell me what you think about the survey question. Everyone listen. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate the field trip? Do you think that's a good survey question?
No.
Zoe? Yeah, they have to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, right? They have to. So if they hated the field trip, they could give it a 1. If they loved it, they could give it a 5. So the only possible answers are 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, right? They can't pick every number on the planet. So later today or tomorrow, we're going to start thinking about how to write your own survey question. So today we're just going to practice real fast. So please grab out your whiteboards. Friends at home, you can write this anywhere. We're just using scrap paper or a whiteboard. I will pause you till we're ready.
Do we need to put a...
All right, so we are going to try to come up with 1 or 2 survey questions, okay? So think about if I was going to write a survey tomorrow, Aiden, if I was going to write a survey tomorrow, what could be a question I would ask? So I want everyone on your whiteboard, write down a possible question, then we're going to share them, not to pick on each other, just to see if that really would work as a survey question. So remember, you don't want your answer to be anything they can think of, because then you won't be able to categorize your data. So there should be maybe 4 or 5 different answers. Got a few minutes to think about this.
Should you write like a survey on here?
We're going to work on surveys later. For now, just try to write a question.
I'm a little confused. What do you mean?
So you're, like some of the ones we looked at up here that we decided if they're good or bad, think about a question you might ask. So here's a really easy one. What is your favorite season? Are there only 4 choices? So I could do a survey on that. I could say, between the animals listed, which pet would you most like to have? And I could pick 5 different animals. I could say, out of all your grades in school at Wyandotte, which one was your favorite, right? You've only got 5 choices, kindergarten 1, 2, 3, or 4. So think of a question where your answers aren't limitless. We can't have limitless answers. Give you about 1 more minute to think, and then I'll have a few students share. We won't have time for everyone to share, but we'll keep working on this as we go throughout today and tomorrow. All right, Chloe, what question did you get?
What is your favorite food, animal, color, state, season, sport, or year?
What was the beginning?
Food. What is your favorite food, animal, color, state, season, sport, or year?
Okay, is that going to be data that you can use to create something useful? I would say that's 8 different questions all wrapped up in one. So you could pick one of those things, okay? Pick one thing. But a survey, you're just asking one question. Madeline, what did you come up with?
What special is your favorite?
What special is your favorite? Okay, that's a good question because how many options do they have, Madeline?
5.
5. That's it. Okay, that's a great survey question. Noah?
I'll put what's your favorite spicy chip? Hot Cheetos, hot fries, spicy Doritos, spicy cheese balls.
Okay, what if someone doesn't like any? Could you make an option, I don't like them? Okay, good. Abby?
What's your favorite subject?
What's your favorite subject at school, right? They're kind of limited to what they can choose. Good. Josiah?
What is your favorite TV channel, Disney, Nick, or cartoon?
Okay, so you gave 3 choices. Sometimes, like Noah, could you also say none?
Yeah.
Okay, or you could make them pick. Say, if you had to choose one, which is your favorite? Cadence? What's your favorite food? Are you going to give them some options? You're going to have to give options, right? Because we could all say something different. You'd have a hard time making that bar graph. Hayden?
What is your favorite animal? Monkey, platypus, giraffe, or none of the above?
Okay, good. Quentin?
What's your favorite drink? Water, root beer, or milk.
Okay, good. Any other people want to share quick? Zoe?
I'm the same as her,
Okay. Angie? What is your favorite fruit? If you listed off several different types of fruit, made everyone pick one on your list, that would be perfect.
I didn't even list any, I just wrote it.
Okay. So we will keep working on survey questions soon. Thank you those at home for joining. I hope you came up with a good survey question. See you tomorrow.